Hello and welcome to the Daily Fantasy 5 podcast. This is Monday, August 12th, episode 172. I'm your host, Scott Grierson, and we are bringing you the 5 things you need to know every day in the world of fantasy sports. Today is no different. We are going to cover the news around the NFL. There's not much going on in baseball. And then we're going to continue our NFL Countdown Extravaganza with the New Orleans Saints today. I believe we are 23 days away from the start of the NFL season. That is unbelievable, people. Pretty excited about that. So let's get started right after a word from our sponsor, www.mathradio.com. We can pick up all your online math courses for as little as $9.99 to help your kids ages 7 through 17. So if you have a child from third grade all the way up through high school, you can go to mathradio.com to pick up an online course for as little as $9.99 to help them get better grades in school, score higher on exams, and even get into college at www.mathradio.com. All right, so today is Monday, and we have a little bit of news coming out of Patriots camp and Broncos camp. The Patriots have traded for third-year tight end Eric Sauerbert from Atlanta. They gave up a conditional seventh-round pick, so not much. The tight end position in Atlanta was very, very crowded. In New England, it's not as much. Matt Lacoste just got injured, so now we're kind of back to Lance Kendricks and a lot of nothing. So I guess Eric Sauerbert will be competing with Lance Kendricks for those first 4 weeks to be the starting tight end. I would assume Benjamin Watson will take over that role after week 4 when he gets off suspension, but who the heck knows in New England. I guess I'm sticking with Lance Kendricks. Sauerbert caught like 5 balls in 16 games last year. I don't know what he's going to do. I guess he's going to be a blocking tight end for New England. So I don't think he has much of an impact. The bigger impact is that Matt Lacoste was injured this weekend, and I actually didn't know that. So big news there for New England. The Broncos have a stretch of bad luck going on here. Their running back that they just signed, Theo Riddick, is going to be out 6 to 8 weeks with a fracture in his shoulder. So essentially, Theo Riddick decided not to have surgery on this shoulder because he'd be out even longer. So I feel like this is a risky move here because even if he does come back in 6 to 8 weeks, what are the chances he re-injures that shoulder without having had the surgery? So for me, I don't think anybody was really drafting Theo Riddick anyway. Even at the end of drafts, there's guys I like better than Theo Riddick. Even in deep drafts, 18 round drafts, I'm still not drafting Theo Riddick. Philip Lindsay, I think, gets a bump from this news because Theo should not be coming in at the end of games. Sorry, not at the end of games, but Theo should not be coming in third down situations, taking Lindsay off the field. Lindsay should have the opportunity to maybe catch those screen passes or actually get out there and run routes that Theo Riddick would be doing in third down and long situations. So it should be a nice little bump for Philip Lindsay. I'm not sure if I'm going to move him up my rankings. I don't think I ever actually moved him down when Theo Riddick signed, so I'm probably keeping Philip Lindsay right where I had him. Okay, and that's really all the news there is for today. Nothing really going on in baseball. Obviously, there's games, but nothing from a fantasy point. No injuries, no big changes that I saw this morning. So let's go ahead and move into our NFL Countdown Extravaganza. 23 days left to the start of the season. That's going to be the Bears and the Packers. But today we are talking New Orleans Saints. So let's get to the 3 big questions, then we'll cover them from a fantasy perspective before closing with a Vegas over-under win total. So question number 1 is this the year where Drew Brees regresses? Interesting question. Thank you. You're welcome. Answer: Drew Brees threw the ball less than 500 times last year. That's not a good sign. This was his lowest total since moving to New Orleans. He still had 4,000 yards, right? Or nearly 4,000 yards. I think it was like 39.92, something like that. 32 touchdowns and only 5 interceptions. 5 interceptions over the course of a 15-game season is absolutely crazy. He did sit out the last game of the year, not because of injury, but because they had already clinched the division. So is he a candidate for regression? Well, I don't really know, but the home road splits are very, very interesting, at least from a fantasy standpoint. So at home in 7 games, he had 21 touchdowns. That's 3 touchdowns per game, right? Passing touchdowns. On the road, he played 8 games. He only had 11 touchdowns in those 8 games for a 1.375 touchdown rate per game. So, I mean, he's scoring almost a touchdown and a half more per game at home than he is on the road. So that is a big, big, big difference. Now, does that mean Drew Brees is going to regress this year and his home numbers are going to look like his road numbers? I suppose it's possible. Drew Brees has always been better in the Dome at home, so I would guess that he would continue to be better this year. I would say from a fantasy perspective, You need to be looking at Drew Brees as kind of a complementary quarterback, right? You need to pair him with someone. You don't want him to be your only quarterback all year long. That's why I think he's a nice little best ball option, because in weeks he's going to be playing at home, he's going to put up nice numbers. It's pretty much guaranteed. And then on those other weeks, you can have one of your other quarterbacks step in and play. So if you are playing in a standard league, you're going to want to have two quarterbacks if you do have Drew Brees, because you do not want to start Drew Brees on the road. So it does give me a little bit of fear about Drew Brees regressing. So does Drew Brees regress this year? I would say chances are maybe 50-50. That is going to be my answer. And question number 2, is this the best offense in football? So are the New Orleans Saints the best offense in all of football? Well, I think Kansas City would have something to say about that. I would say that I don't see any situation where New Orleans is better than Kansas City, just because that defense is so terrible that Kansas City should be scoring early, often, and all the time in all these shootouts. I would say the Saints might have a chance to be the second best offense. If we say that Drew Brees does not regress, let's just assume that he does not regress. They have so many weapons on this team. Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas, Jared Cook, Latavius Murray, a new offensive line. They added Nick Easton, on a 4-year deal from Minnesota. They drafted Eric McCoy. That guy can play all over the place. They were already the 8th best offensive line last year, so I think this might move them back into the top 5 of offensive lines. I don't see any weakness on this offense other than if Drew Brees regresses. If Drew Brees is a top 5 quarterback, this offense has a chance to be at least the number 2, if not the number 1 offense in all of football, and that should give them a shot to go back to at least the conference championship, where they really should have gone to the Super Bowl last year. Question number 3, can the defense jump back into the top 10? So last year they finished just outside the top 10 as a defensive group in DVOA. They were number 11. Okay. There has been some turnover on the defensive line, but overall the group is mainly intact. I think in order for New Orleans to jump into that top 10, they need Marcus Davenport, who they traded up to get last year, to be more explosive, make more big plays for that unit. That's what they got him for. They thought he was kind of the missing piece. I don't think he was that last year. I don't think he is that, but that's what they need in order for this defense to take the next step. I do love the rookie Chauncey Gardner-Johnson at safety. I think he can make an impact right away. I think he was a great pick by the Saints. I think they got him in the 3rd or 4th round too. So very good value there. So I think the Saints have a chance to have that defense recover. And that would certainly go a long way to helping them reach the Super Bowl, which is where they want to be this year. Let's talk fantasy. Let's start at the quarterback. Drew Brees on ESPN is being drafted as QB7, so that's right around pick number 70 or so. We'll talk about that more in a minute. Kamara being drafted in the top 3. Of course, he's that good. Michael Thomas being drafted in the top 5. Yep, that's certainly where he should be drafted. Jared Cook is being drafted as tight end number 7. He performed very well with the Raiders. I don't know why he would perform worse with the Saints. Yes, they have more weapons, but this offense is going to be a lot better than the Raiders. The touchdown potential is certainly there for Jared Cook. At tight end 7, I like it. There's a whole group of tight ends. So if you're looking at the tight end position, you have Kelsey, Ertz, and Kittle at the top, right? Those are the top 3 guys, pretty much unquestionably. Then there's a huge drop, like a 2-round, 20-player drop between George Kittle and the next player, Evan Ingram, okay? Now, these next, 7 guys, to me, you could draw their names out of a hat. They all have a chance to finish as a top 5 type of tight end. So you've got Evan Ingram, O.J. Howard, Hunter Henry, Jared Cook, Njoku, Eric Ebron, and Vance McDonald. I don't see any reason. I mean, you can make a case for all those guys to be either 4th or 5th, right? Evan Ingram is basically the best weapon the New York Giants have in the passing game, maybe outside of Saquon Barkley. O.J. Howard, he is an amazing athlete. This is going to be, I believe, year 3 for O.J. Howard, so that could be a breakout for him. Hunter Henry of the Chargers, he put up great numbers when he was healthy. Jared Cook moves into a better offense. That's who we're talking about. And Njoku could be in an explosive offense of Cleveland. Eric Ebron scored, 12, 13 touchdowns last year. And Vance McDonald should have a bigger role in Pittsburgh. So I don't see a big difference in any of these tight ends. And you can get Jared Cook at pick number, 72 is his average draft position. So I think that's pretty good value. If you don't get one of those top guys and you're in the 8th round and you're saying to yourself, all right, I already have, 3 running backs, 3 wide receivers. My squad's looking pretty good. I'm feeling I want to grab a tight end here. I don't think Jared Cook is a bad pick at all there in round 8. You could also get Drew Brees at that point. So you might be faced with a choice where, you have 4 running backs, 3 wide receivers. You enter round 8. You have no quarterback. You have no tight end. And you got to choose between Jared Cook or Drew Brees. Well, in this case, I would argue that you take Jared Cook because there's less depth at the tight end position. Once you get outside of those top 10, it's really a crapshoot. I mean, who knows what you're going to get outside those top 10. But in the quarterback position, we've talked about it every day. There's like 22 quarterbacks that I like this year. So definitely, I would not be drafting Drew Brees in the 8th round. Now, if you can get him in, say, the 10th, 11th round of a best ball league, that is certainly something that you want to look at. Or even if he falls in a standard league to the 10th or 9th, 10th, 11th round, that's something I would look at and just pair him with another quarterback. Although you have to give up a little bit of roster depth in that case. Anyway, let's move off the tight end and talk about Drew Brees a little bit more. He's going as QB number 7. Again, I think that's a little bit too high to draft Drew Brees. Was there anybody else on this list? Yes, Latavius Murray. He's going as running back 39 right now. Mark Ingram finished the year as the 28th overall running back last year in this role, and he missed the first 4 games of the season. I think he had a suspension. So Latavius Murray, I mean, is he as good as Mark Ingram is? Maybe. I mean, they're similar players, similar ability. I don't see any reason why Latavius Murray can't come in and be a top 30 running back, and he's being drafted as 39th. Is he the most splashy name? Is it fun to draft Latavius Murray? Probably not. It's never fun to grab a backup. But Latavius Murray, I think his floor is kind of a top 30 running back. He's going to, or maybe top 36. He'll be a flex pay for you, RB3 without a doubt. But if anything happens to Kamara in those games, you should get a lot more work. And I would expect they want to keep Kamara fresh for the playoffs. So I think Latavius Murray will get plenty of work. I don't see any problem having him as your 3rd running back. I might be a little bit worried, but if he's your 4th running back, I would feel great about it. So love Latavius Murray there at RB39. Great value. Let's talk over-unders. Vegas has the New Orleans Saints at 10.5 wins. I clocked New Orleans in at 11 wins. Like I said, there's, not much to dislike on their offense. I mean, maybe you don't believe in Brees. That's one thing. But other than that, the offense looks good. They finished, number 4 last year in DVOA. The defense was 11th. I don't see regression from either side. Too many weapons. Offense and defensive line, both very good. So, I don't know, 11 wins. It's one of my top-rated teams in all of football. They are probably going to be one of my Super Bowl shotgun picks, and we're going to have to do a whole show about that later on before the season starts as well. If you weren't with me last year, the Super Bowl shotgun, basically you pick 5 teams to win the Super Bowl. Always everybody has like 6 to 1 or less. So you're good. No matter which team you pick wins, you're going to win money. So you get 5 shots at it, and we won last year with the New England Patriots. So it's a fun way to do it. Hopefully we'll have a couple guests on the show, and we'll do a Super Bowl shotgun episode later on in the year. But those are the big questions about the Saints. The NFL Countdown Extravaganza will continue tomorrow with the Buccaneers. Of course, we will be covering any news that comes up in the world of fantasy sports. And that is it for today. Please go check out our sponsor if you need a math course to help out your kids ages 7 through 17 at mathradio.com. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. And if you're listening to the podcast, we'd appreciate a 5-star review and a 5-star rating and a nice review. Yeah, I got that right now. Okay, we will see you tomorrow. Bye for now.